How's it going, everyone? I just wanted to do a quick clip before the actual unboxing and the side-by-sides to let you know that this video ended up being a lot longer than I was expecting to. It's probably going to clock in over an hour. So I added in a bunch of bookmarks along the way so you can kind of jump around and see anything that's of interest to you around the Analogue Duo. So with that, let's get on with the unboxing. Today we are going to be looking at the Analogue Duo. It finally came in, and it literally, the plastic just shines off everything. You can see all my crazy setup I tried to do to make these unboxing videos work. So I actually ordered this thing before the pre-orders ended, but unfortunately, I guess it was just in kind of that window where I did not make the first cut. So I had to wait, but it's here, and now we get to give it a try. So I also have, to go with it, the 8-bit Do, or Do, 8-bit Do? I'm actually not sure. The PC Engine white. So spoilers, I guess. I did get the Analogue Duo Japan version for the PC Engine colors. I have with us as well the original TurboGrafx 16 hardware and CD. This is mine from when I was 16. I got it for Christmas. Been with me ever since. Been one of my favorite consoles, so I never got rid of it. Although I did get rid of a lot of the games, and that's probably the worst part of all this. I have started to have to rebuild my collection. And unfortunately, a lot of those, well, not unfortunately, because a lot of the games I bought at the time were imported Japanese games, but it's also what I'm replacing them with. I also have my old converter card, view card, with the Super System 3.0 card to go with it. I have a few of the games that I bought at the time when I was around that age. Also, I think I acquired a few of these for my buddies at the time because they were really big into them as well. Far East of Eden, Tengai Maku 2, Maru, and I have Far East of Eden, Kabukiden, and I have Far East of Eden, Ziria? I'm actually not sure. Tengai Maku, the first one. Along with that, I have picked up my Magic 3 that we'll check out. I have picked up Emerald Dragon, which I'm pretty sure I had back in the day, but I've had to replace that. One of my original games from back then still, Ys 4. Although unfortunately I got rid of Ys Book 1 and 2 and 3, the English versions way back in the day, and Cosmic Fantasy 2, which, oh, jeez, if I could turn back time, man. This is one I've had forever as well, The Legend of Xanadu. And I've just picked up R-Type Collection CD that we'll check out. I've picked up Macross 2036 that we'll check out. I'm a big Robotech / Macross fan, so excited for that one again. I did pick up Shapeshifter, so this is the one English game I currently have at the moment. And then, I forget, is this Budokai? I forget the actual subtitle of it, but the Dragon Ball Z fighting game. So, what I'm going to do is we'll start with unboxing this guy, and then I will do some comparisons. I have a cheap HDMI to, now I gotta think, an RGA, RCA, oh my god, it's been too long, RGB, to, I think it's RCA, to HDMI converter for the TV, so I can hook up the old TurboGrafx CD. It does work. I did have to do a repair to the CD unit at one point. It was not turning, had a bad one of those, I guess it's a common issue with the gear actually just not being very strong and the actual threads in it kind of break away. or teeth, I guess you can say. So I ordered one offline where someone does like 3D printing of them, and me and my wife broke that thing open and replaced it. And of all the things I've done, that was super stressful and hard because the last thing I want is my turbografx CD to not work anymore. So I will do the comparisons. I'll hook that up and I'll play them on the old turbografx hardware. I'll hook it up onto the Duo. I'll do some comparisons there, do some side by sides, kind of get a feel for the unit. And I guess we'll just see how this goes. You might question, why do I have a Duo since I do have the old hardware? For one, I don't know if I really want to invest too much in like HDMI converter stuff. It'd probably be cheaper long term, but also, I already repaired my CD unit on my turbografx once, and my concern is that's gonna break, and I'm gonna have no way to play my games. And I do not want to spend the money to replace that thing. So I figured the Duo would be a good place to kind of, hey, if that ever breaks, I have the Duo. I can play my games there. I'm good. Okay, so let's get to unboxing. Pull out the trusty scissors here. Try not to mess up this box too much. All right. Get this shiny plastic off this guy. I remember when my buddies and I got the TurboGrafx 16 CD. Initially, we were big RPG fans, and we picked up Tengai 2 based off seeing it like EGM or something. And my lord, we were blown away. Things you take for such commonplace anymore, talking in games, animation, cutscenes, and everything. Just the music. It was kind of pivotal at that time. I think it made me a fan of the system for life. It was literally like, I can't believe the system's doing this. Things that now I turn on and play Helldivers with my friends online for 5 hours and watch gigantic explosions, and it looks absolutely unreal. But this was my back in the day of enjoying. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, this is actually a lot smaller than I was expecting. It is tiny. It looks nice though. So we got where the hue card, backwards. Hue card goes, CD-ROM, looks like power switch. I so badly just want to open this. Like, I feel like I should open it like the Duo. So on the back, we've got, I need my old man glasses. Hold on one second. All right. We got a place for an SD card, HDMI, USB, and another USB. This is interesting. I don't know if it's the packaging or if you can see it, but it's actually kind of dirty in here. Let's see, can I get it close enough? Don't know if that's going to show. I'll have to look on the video later. I assume it's just the packaging, maybe just rubbed off into it. And being that it's a white creamish, it's more creamish than white. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of threw me off. Wasn't expecting that at all. I'll have to clean that out. But I can see it on the sides over here too. So that's obviously going to be a concern right up front of getting this unit, is it actually picking up a lot of dust and whatnot. But I kind of like the pop that these bring. It's usually so dark underneath a console unit or a TV unit that I like being able to like see these kind of shining underneath. So what else we got on this thing? So on the left side, we've got place for the turbografx controller. It's like a headphone jack, volume control, and not actually sure what this is yet. Oh, I bet that's the Bluetooth. Probably connect the Bluetooth controllers. Okay. So let's see what else we got in this box. I'm actually still kind of surprised how tiny this thing is. I mean, let's see. Oh, the big boy. I guess see how I can figure this out without breaking my turbo side by side. I mean, I guess if you put it up against, I guess it's actually not. Geez, I'm going the wrong way on the camera here. All right. I guess it feels smaller. I can't with modern consoles anymore. It's just everything being gigantic. Okay. Let's put this here. Let's see what else is in the box. I apologize if I'm all over the place today. But that's just how these things go. So we got power adapter, which I've heard, especially for like the dock. I have the analog pocket and the dock, and well, like you saw in my other video if you watched it. But I've read online that you really don't want to use any kind of other power source than the one they give you. So keep hold of your analog power sources. And let's see what else. Why is it? Why does it sound like a box of nerds? What is that about? Ah, it's funny they kind of hit it in the. I mean, it makes sense that there's one in here. It's just funny how they hit it with all the cables here. All right, so we got our USB-C cable to go with the power cable. And is this maybe an HDMI? Yep, they actually give us an HDMI, so that's kind of nice. All right, what else we got here? We got the book, and I assume, let's see, come on. Get that out. Analog sticker, FPGA sticker, that is it. All right, so here we go. The instructions. So looking at the unit, press for power, hold for power off, quick single press to sleep and wake during gameplay, the eject button here in the middle, rotate to adjust headphone volume, yeah, we got that. Press to pair controllers, LED way up, okay, got that. Do not insert or remove hue cards while game is running. Okay, good to know. Although I do not have any hue cards, not a concern. So stick around for the side-by-sides, and I'll have some commentary to go with it, and maybe go through the menu system, kind of play around with the different options in it, different display types and stuff. So the menu system is pretty straightforward. It recognizes when you insert a game or CD, hue card or CD, and it'll launch it from the top section. Library will store any games you've played and then any times, so like the amount of time you played them. Screenshots is what it means, taking screenshots. There's save states there too. I quickly pass that over though because it's not supported yet. Controller setups, you have your actual video setups. So if you want to change their filters types, you have like CRT Trinitron, Turbo Express, PC Engine LT, which I helped me learn what an LT even was. I did not, if I knew at one point, I forgot that they even existed. You have your different sharpness levels. Now, the gray section below here I believe it opened up when I selected the Trinitron option. If you use their default filter, you can't change any of those. You can change scaling and so forth as well. You have your overscan if you want to do that. And then you have whether you want to use, emulate like composite or RGB for the colors. So I didn't have to mess with any of this stuff. Auto detect, I just left it. It seemed to work fine. Supergraphics, I just left that on. It seemed fine. I don't have any super graphics cards, so I couldn't tell you if it made any difference. The auto detection on CD-ROM I just left on, and then the auto detection for the controller type as well for the input. HDMI mode, you basically state how you want it to output, any kind of delay, or what kind of RGB range, what kind of, for the headphones, I assume that you plug in the jack, and if you want to reset the defaults. So you can actually state whether you want it to go to look for like a hue card first, then a CD on launch, or vice versa. You can set up how you want your library to work out and the detail level of it. That's on the Pocket as well. It's pretty much the same thing. They have, any update notes in their menu system as well. You can try to see what they've added in since the last update that I pushed onto the unit after unboxing it here. And the other stuff, you got your user guide, you have the tutorial that they walk you through when you first launch if you need to see that again, any legal information, and then the special thanks with anyone I assume is associated with the Duo and putting it together. And then you can power it off from there as well. So before getting into the side-by-sides, I just wanted to show what actual upscaler I'm using for the TurboGrafx CD, the original hardware. I don't have anything fancy. I don't want, like I said earlier, I just haven't had the need to buy anything super expensive. So this is what I'm using when you're looking at the side-by-side comparisons that will be coming up. So keep that in mind that obviously a better upscaler could do better with the output of the original hardware to make it comparable to what the Duo is doing. Um, if someone wants to send me a nice upscaler, if any hardware makers out there would love me to review and show the difference of the original hardware on a good upscaler versus the Duo, I'm not going to turn you down, but this is what I got, so this is what I will be comparing against. One other note as well is that all the audio I'm going to be using for the comparisons are straight from the Duo itself. I didn't really notice any personal difference from the audio. I know some other reviews I've read, they said they heard some sync issues or timing issues, or maybe that was with the hue card, not the CD. I'm not sure, but I personally did not run into any of those issues. I will say though that the audio coming from the Duo versus coming from the HDMI out of this upscaler was remarkably better with my sound system. It utilized the surround sound and everything. It actually sounded amazing. Like it was really good. So that's a big plus on the Duo side for me. All right, so I'll kind of pop in and out here and there through all these comparisons to kind of point out things that maybe I've noticed or that I thought was interesting. We're going to start here with Macross 2036. Basically, I can tell you the common theme across all these games that I did the comparisons on is just the quality and color. It seems way better on the Duo. Sharper, the color maybe seems just a little more what you would expect. Again, this obviously could be because of the HDMI upscaler, but it's causing a lot of the colors to seem a little off and darker overall. And then, like I said, very soft and very not not very clear, I guess, kind of blurry in some states. So yeah, like you can see Minmay here, you know, basically she's got, you know, much lighter hair on the right versus the left, and just much clearer to see. Another thing to point out too is that, as you can see here, as it goes into the menu, the drive in the Duo is obviously a newer, faster drive compared to the old unit. So that's a common theme, and it made it kind of difficult to do these side-by-sides because the Duo would outpace the original hardware quite often. So I do try to kind of do some cuts and kind of realign to get some good side-by-sides. So, and a lot of these videos are going to be kind of cutscene based. I do put in some gameplay as well to show, but a lot of the cutscenes kind of, they obviously show a lot of the clarity and the timings as well because they're a lot easier to align. So again, you can see here right away that the Duo is way outpacing the original hardware of the TurboGrafx 16 CD. So I realigned it again, and now you can see some side-by-sides. So I'll be quiet for a few minutes, and you can take a look and see what you think.
軽い軽い。
ロット、油断しないで。上よ。
気をつけろ。前方2確認の戦闘ポップ。
オッケー。そいつは私に任せて。
All right, so I'm going to pause here for a second because I thought this was interesting. When the officer's battle pod kind of pops up from the rebel, you can see a clear difference of what is happening on the Duo versus the original hardware. And honestly, I mean, the Duo definitely looks better in this regard. I'm not sure though, like if it's emulating it properly, like was the left side supposed to look like that, right? What kind of trickery were they doing to kind of make it look kind of blurred coming up from the Rebel? Or maybe it was just that the hardware couldn't handle quite what it was doing at the time, where the Analog Duo is kind of perfectly handling it. I guess it's up to anyone's interpretation here. But I mean, personally, I think the Duo looks better. It's obviously sharp, coming straight up out of the ground, and clear on what is happening. So something else you'll notice too during this fight is when I get hit by something on the Duo, the Veritech actually disappears, where on the left side, they kind of just fade. So obviously they're doing something on the turbografx side that Duo just is not emulating properly. And we'll see that later on in the next stage. I'll point out where you'll see this as well. Okay, so at the start of the second stage, you'll see that the Veritech isn't even showing up on the Duo versus the turbografx hardware on the left. And it's interesting because you'll see that, it looks like the Veritech is kind of blending through the left animation that's popping up, where on the right side, it doesn't show at all because it's hidden. So obviously, again, I have to think they're doing some kind of hardware tricks on the Turbo side to kind of create some kind of transparency effect on the Veritech, which when they're trying to emulate on the Duo side, it's just not happening and it's causing the sprite to just disappear. Okay, so I thought it would be interesting to just check out the different display modes real quick. So obviously you have the CRT Trinitron like talked about before, and then the difference between it and the analog default. You have the Turbo Express, and then the PC Engine LT, which after looking it up was an actual like portable screen, kind of like the smaller PS1 had at one point as well, that you can kind of attach to the unit and then play on the go. So once you go into CRT Trinitron, you can come in here and actually choose your aperture grill type. And I'll be quite honest, this is kind of beyond me. I just figured people would be interested in seeing it. When it comes to emulating at this level, I kind of just like going with the defaults personally. Scan lines are fine and everything, and who knows, maybe I might turn around on it, but I've had my days with those, and I just kind of like a good clean image when I'm playing a game nowadays. But for those interested, I figured it would be worth bringing this up, showing you what is offered, and then how it would look once some of these options are turned on. Although I will admit, after coming back to this video time and time again and watching everything, and seeing the Trinitron set up with the scan lines here, I feel like I need to go back and set it up that way and play some more and see overall what all the games look like this way. But that's not how it is here in the video. All the video is going forward is the analog default. Like most people is probably going to play, I would think. Although, I was kind of knocking on the scan lines before, but as I spent many hours on this video and have watched this particular clip over and over, I gotta say, kind of starting to lean that way. Alright, so up next is Tengai Maku Fuun Kabukiden. Common theme again, a lot more clear on the Duo, the coloring being better, I think, on the Duo. Speed times definitely better on the Duo. There is, though, something I thought was particularly interesting in this particular game, which will come up here in a little bit, and I'll pop back on and talk about it. That I didn't even notice until I was kind of scrubbing through and doing this video, and it kind of popped out. And then I went back to the actual hardware and played it on the screen to verify that what I was seeing here was actually happening there. So we'll get to that shortly.
戦士歌舞伎團十郎ただいま参上。問答無用。上等じゃねえがジパングにいや宇宙にその名も高きこの歌舞伎團十郎様が地獄の果てへご案内だ。さーて主役は引っ込むといたしやしょ。
Okay, so this is the part I was talking about. You see these, like, I guess they're like flower decorations up against the wall, and how clear they are on the Duo versus how clear they are not on the original hardware. But even more so than that, when the character moves from side to side, you'll see on the Turbo, like, everything kind of has this, like, shimmer. It's like, it's kind of it's very distracting, to be quite honest. You can see it all through the scene on different items, where you don't see any of that at all on the Duo, which, you know, whether or not that was meant to be, I can't imagine it was. The Duo obviously just looks a lot cleaner, and presents the scene as is a lot better overall. Alright, so up next is Dragon Ball Z, Idainaru, Son Goku, Densetsu. Hope I said that correctly. So this is where the drive on the Duo kind of starts to shine because this game has a lot of going in and out of your fighting to basically kind of a rock, paper, scissors of you setting up super attacks. And it has a ton of loading as it does that in between. It loads to go into it, it loads to go to whatever cutscene it's going to play out from it, and then it loads to go back into the game itself. So the Duo obviously kicks into these and out of them a lot faster than the original hardware. And it happens so often during the fighting scenes that it starts to add up and make a huge difference in the benefit of the Duo here when playing this game.
お父さん、悟空さん。
はちゃめちゃに元気でめちゃくちゃに強いやつ。貴様のようなガキがこのタオパイパイ様に勝てるものか。死ねー。
Okay, so I tried to, it's pretty difficult, but I tried to time this somewhat to show the difference in the speed. And you can see right away that it actually started on the Duo later to go into the cutscene, but entered into the cutscene before the actual Turbo hardware. And then you'll see again that, it's already into the scene to show what's going to play out. And then right after that, you'll see that it's back into the game and well before the Turbo hardware ends up in there. And like I said, this happens so often. You can see on the Duo, like I end up right back into another cutscene, and on the left-hand side, it's about to go into a cutscene. That these, like I said before, these precious seconds, they add up quick. And not only that, it actually made me realize how loud the turbo unit is. This thing was spinning like crazy while playing this game. So that's something else that's kind of a plus on the Duo side. I didn't have to listen to the CD just cranking away over there to play the Dragon Ball Z. So let's take a second to appreciate the amazing voice work that used to happen back in the day. Things, again, that we take for granted today with just amazing voice actors. Hey, I gotta give it to the people who worked on Shapeshifter. They really went for it. All the voice acting is something else. Classic, timeless? I'm not sure, but it's something to be heard and to witness.
Come in, sit down and let me foreshadow the things that are to come.
I think I shall take a pass today, Prophet.
Your future is of no interest then, so be it. Good day, warrior.
So Shapeshifter is another good example of just the color and quality that the Duo represents versus that upscaler I'm using. Or maybe what the original hardware was even putting out. It just looks way better on the Duo. The insects don't just look like big red blobs bouncing around the screen versus the Duo. And for whatever reason, this game, this game is something else. At one point, it has you attacking homeless people on crutches looking for money, just straight up killing them for coming at you. I don't quite know what the developers were going for here, but one thing I did run into though on the Duo was at the end of the scene when you talk to this lady, there is a moment when the moon, when it passes over the sun, lightning shoots down and refills the player's health. Well, most of the time, at least the 2 times I did it, the lady talks for so long that just happens while you're talking to her. You'll be standing there and then lightning will shoot down. And the 2 times I started on the Duo, it actually caused the game to freak out and spit out the CD. I assume it's some kind of protection mechanism where if the Duo locks up and freaks out in any kind of way, it must tell the unit to, spit out the CD so it doesn't get stuck and lock in there. That's my guess.
Until now, the Dark Ones, 3 powerful evil brothers from the Shadow Realm, have
Alright, R-type complete. Again, common themes here being the brightness and clarity. There is a point here where you see the ship kind of take off, and it looks like the Duo is not emulating whatever effects they're using on the thruster engines. You'll see here in a moment that they kind of are more pronounced on the actual hardware side versus the Duo, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, right here, you can see like the effect going on the left-hand side that the Duo does not represent on the right side. So it's interesting kind of doing these side-by-sides because when I was working on this for the most part, I did not notice any differences with R-type when I was playing it or when on the original hardware or the Duo as I was kind of piecing all the video together. And then as I'm sitting here kind of rewatching it and doing the voiceover work on what I think about the comparisons, I notice a comparison. I notice a difference where the Duo is actually not emulating. You can see behind the ship on the left on the original hardware, you can just kind of barely see some thrust coming out of the back of it. It's like kind of like a blue and yellowish light. Where on the Duo, you don't see that at all. So whatever, again, I almost think it's all transparency related. It's probably some kind of layer that they're using effect that is not translating at all over into the Duo in general. So it's little here's and there's on the games I have that I've been noticing it. So I guess if there's any games that make heavy use of it, and this is all just me, assuming here based off of what I'm seeing, obviously that could be a big problem for the Duo. But as for now, lucky for me, it's just kind of these little pieces of here's and there's that are not overall a distraction from enjoying using the Duo itself. So outside of the few things I pointed out, everything else pretty much played out like I would expect, looked like I would expect. So other than that, R-type seemed fine. The explosions seem to be in line with what's going on the hardware versus the Duo. Even between the stages, you even have the blinking effect occurring on the Duo, which is really odd, because I would assume that was kind of the effect that was causing the other issues, but maybe it's not there. I don't know. I'm sure someone has a more detailed analysis of what's going on with the turbo hardware and what they might be missing on those other pieces versus what is being shown between those stages. Alright, so up next is my personal favorite game on the Turbo. It's the Tengai Makyō 2 Manji Maru, Japanese RPG. This is the first like Japanese import me and my buddies made. And like I said in the intro of this, it just blew us away. So I'm just kind of putting these in here for side-by-sides, just so for my own benefit, I can just come back and watch these opening cutscenes of the individual characters anytime I want. I just love this game so much. Anyway, enjoy. I'll be back.
母ちゃんおかえり。
万事丸はいるか？今日という今日は許さ
万事
ねえぞ。
丸またどこかで喧嘩したんでしょう。まったくしょうがない子ね。それにしても子供の喧嘩にいちいち親が出てくるなんて大人のすることじゃないわ。万事丸、お前はほとぼりが冷めるまでどこかその辺で暇つぶしといで。2階のいつものところからお逃げ。あとは母さんが適当にあしらっとくから任せなさい。
Alright, so this is another scene I kind of wanted to point out specifically because the rose on the left has a lot of detail and it's kind of lost in the old hardware with the upscaler versus the duo, which again kind of comes back to, you know, if you're just looking for something that plays turbo games, you know, collection you have, without all the investment of, you know, a high-priced upscaler and the original hardware, the Duo does a fantastic job of presenting the details that you would expect to see when you're playing these games. Okay, so Ease 4 Dawn of Ease is next. And then after that, the first Tengai, and then also Emerald Dragon. I'll just leave them in here so people can watch the comparisons and kind of get an idea of what they looked like side by side. Again, the common theme, the duo just kind of beats out in clarity and also load times. Beyond that, I do have a couple other things to point out after the original Tengai runs. We'll get to that shortly.
様に守りの本当の恐ろしさを思い知らせてくれるわ。
話しなさいよ。私が何をしたっていうの？
いいから来るんだ。
怪しいやつめ、ここで何をしていたんだ？
だから道に迷ったって言ってるでしょ。話して。
ただの女がこんなところをうろついてるわけがないだろう。これおとなしく。なんだお前は。
さてはお前もこの女の仲間だな。お前らまとめて牢屋に放り込んでやる。
心配ないわ。気を失っているだけだから。私はカーナ。この峠を越えた先にあるアリエダの村に住んでいるの。
オストラコン。
こいつを生かすも殺すも貴様たち次第というわけだ。
何するの？話して。
タリー！
気をつけろ。天井が崩れるぞ。
君を守るって約束が果たせないんじゃないか。
守るってあなたは？
気のせいじゃないのか。何も言いやしないぜ。
お父様！
もしやあなたがエメラルドドラゴンなのですか？
エメラルドドラゴン。
ジパングを我が物にせんと正門の復活を企む悪の一団がその行動を開始していたのだった。 ジパングの筑波と呼ばれる山にわずかばかり残った火の一族の末裔の一人がいた。
よう、ガマ仙人のじっちゃま、マサカドってやつはそんなにすごいのか？
うん。気圧が動くとき大木は倒れ火が走り、その後には屍しか残らんと言われておる。
へえ。そんなにすごいやつが復活したら、この筑波山も消えてなくなっちまうのか？
そうじゃ。
筑波山の鳥や動物もカエルたちも。
Okay, so this was something I actually forgot even existed, since it's been a while since I played my original TurboGrafx CD hardware. It does have a limit on how much it can store save-wise. And me saving all my games as I was going along, I went to load up Might and Magic, and it was like, nah, you can't go into the game because you don't have enough RAM to play it. So I actually had to jump back out, and I just ended up formatting the RAM. I didn't go in and delete any individual games, just so I can get into Might and Magic 3 to play it. But yeah, it's something you don't run into obviously on the Duo. You kind of throw an SD card, or excuse me, an SD card in there, and it's just going to hold as many save games as you have. You obviously you're not going to hit any kind of limit the SD cards have on there, I'm sure. So with that, I'll just let my Magic 3 kind of play behind the scenes here and give my final thoughts. Okay, so what do I think about the Duo? I love it actually. During the unboxing, I kind of spoke about how it was going to be more of a backup in case anything went wrong with my hardware, but now it's going to be the other way around. I think the Duo's great. I love the speed it brings, the clarity it brings. It's nice and small underneath my desk. You know, I don't need to worry about the upscaler and any issues I'm running into there. The sound quality was great. You know, I ran into that issue with Shapeshifter, but I was able to get around it. The glitches, or you know, what it was not emulating properly that I brought up throughout the video, has not been an issue for the games I've been playing on it so far. You know, obviously you're kind of missing out on those details, but for me it wasn't enough that I honestly want the convenience of the Duo, that I would give up the convenience and the clarity of the Duo to go back to the old hardware. Is it something you should pick up? Well, I guess it just all depends what you're looking for. You know, there's no open FPGA on it, which you know, if you were anyway following the Duo, you knew that was the case going in. It's an odd choice that they're keeping it on the Analogue Pocket and they're not providing it on their other hardware. I'm not sure why. The only thing I can think is money. I don't know what else to come up with. You know, this is hardware that these games aren't made anymore. I'm not sure NEC would ever come after them for offering open FPGA, excuse me, on the Duo. I mean, more so than like Nintendo or someone would come after them for it being on the Pocket. So I can't see that as being an excuse. Maybe they've said and I just missed any kind of talks around it. But it is a bummer. I did read just the other day, as I've been kind of putting this together, that someone did jailbreak the Duo. So if you want a Duo and you want the option to play any game on it, if you don't own games itself, you do have a couple of options. You can get an EverDrive, which are not cheap. They're like $250, I think. And you have to kind of get the Pro one. You have to make sure you get a specific one to work. And you have to remove a piece of the top because it doesn't fit into the Duo itself properly. This is all my understanding from doing research. I do not own an EverDrive myself. And I was actually kind of looking into one until I heard about the jailbreak, which if the jailbreak, I can just load anything I want into it. It is more interesting to me because, you know, the original Tengai Makyō has an English patch out for it now that I would want to play on the Duo. I have it on my Analogue Pocket and it's great. I'd like to have it on my Duo as well. They're supposed to be doing English translations for 2 and Kabukiden as well, which I find interesting. Rondo of Blood has an English translation. So there's all those kinds of niceties that out of the box with the Duo you can't do unless, you know, you can burn a CD, I guess, if you want to go into the route of buying CDs again and a CD burner. And my understanding is it will play those. But outside that, I kind of went on a little rant there. But I don't know. I am happy with my purchase. I do not regret it. I now have something I can play my original games on. It looks great. If you do not have original games, obviously I don't know why you would even think about picking up a Duo. Just get an Analogue Pocket and call it a day. If you plan to get a collection of Duo games or PC Engine or TurboGrafx games, excuse me, then the Duo would be a nice option for you, I think. So outside of that, yeah, I think I'll leave it there. This video went way longer than I was expecting and took a lot longer to put together than I was expecting as well. So I hope you enjoyed it and look forward to more videos from Switchover in the future.
Ah, I see that you have come seeking the enchanter. But where is your weapon, lad? If I am to work my craft, I shall need a weapon.
I see, old man. I shall return then, with a weapon at my side.
Good day, barbarian. How can I help thee?
I have come to buy a weapon.
Of course! Please look around my shop.
I will take this battle axe. Here is your gold.
A fine choice. May it serve you well.